don't know about you, but I'm obsessed with ghost stories. There's just something about hearing all these haunted stories that really just like gets me going. So in this video, we're gonna go over haunted spots in the Meatpacking District. So the Meatpacking District is known for being a trendy neighborhood with lots of bars and nightlife, but what are some of the haunted stories behind all of that? The first spot we're gonna cover in this video is the High Line. Now, everybody knows the High Line in the Meatpacking District. We're gonna put up a picture of the High Line or some video of the High Line just so you know what I'm talking about. So it is an elevated park in Manhattan, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's just so cool to be able to walk through this like elevated park with views of the city. But I hate to break it to you, it's haunted. I've been on the High Line many times in my life, and I do have to say, I've never seen any of these like haunted encounters, I would say. There might have only been a few times in my life, maybe like once or twice, I would say, that I've been on the High Line at night. So maybe that's why. So like I said, the High Line is a elevated park, but it's actually an abandoned railroad line. And if you look down on the High Line, like when you're walking on the High Line, you can actually see the railroad tracks. So this is kind of funny. I don't like to say that any ghost encounters are funny, but I don't know if I've ever heard something like this before. So legend has it that the ghosts of animals who were transported on the High Line to the Meatpacking District haunt the High Line now. I am not trying to offend anybody out there because look, I'm not a vegan, I'm not a vegetarian, but at the same time, they're talking about animals going to the Meatpacking District for, which is not funny at all. But I don't think I've ever heard of an animal haunting before. Maybe I'm not as experienced enough in the ghost world. I didn't know that that was a thing, and I think that's why I'm saying that, because I'm like, I don't know if I've ever heard of that before, but I mean, I guess it could be a thing, right? Like, why can't it be a thing? And of course, these legends have it that this only happens at night. So this might be why I have not seen or heard this yet. So where the High Line is on 10th Avenue, or I should say above 10th Avenue, this actually used to be called Death Avenue. How crazy is that? Children and pedestrians would pass away on the street because of the trains that would pass by and hit them if they were in the way. So that is where the High Line came about, because they had to lift the trains to stop hitting people here, which is crazy to think about. Sometimes we don't think about the history of Manhattan, but there was a time where the subways weren't underground. They were going directly through Manhattan, and you can imagine that that was probably happening all the time because there's so many people crossing the streets. The Meatpacking District was actually relatively poor at the time, and they couldn't afford to raise or lower the trains like some other neighborhoods could. So they were a little bit behind here. So you might have heard of the West Side Cowboys. Now we're gonna put a picture up as well, just so you could see what I'm talking about. So there was actually cowboys like on horses who would patrol 10th Avenue to basically like warn people when the trains were coming, and they would literally clear the roads for the trains. So I actually on YouTube saw some old footage of this. It's crazy. And this was even happening in the 1900s, which is even more wild because you're like, wait, cowboys in Manhattan basically leading the way for trains, like strangest thing. So there was a West Side Cowboy that unfortunately fell to his death from the tracks on 10th Avenue. And because of this, people claim that people have felt like cold spots on the High Line or have heard strange noises when there. I think everybody knows that strange noises could be a little bit of a ghostly encounter, but cold spots can be as well. And like I said, I've never seen anything or experienced anything like this, especially on the High Line, but this is what people claim. And after that, the West Side Cowboys officially ended in 1941. It's kind of crazy to think that even in like the 20s, 30s, and 40s, there were cowboys just like patrolling New York City. So the next spot in the Meatpacking District is going to be Hotel Gansevoort. Now, you might also recognize this name. Very popular place, very trendy, and we'll put up some pictures, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, you will know what I'm talking about. So this is a boutique hotel known for its trendy rooftop pool and the bar restaurant, but it does have quite a past. In the early 1900s, this building was a leather goods factory, and in this neighborhood, there was a lot of factories in this neighborhood, so not too surprising that this was once a factory as well. However, people claim that there was a lot of very, very, very gruesome murders that took place in this hotel, and also people who took their lives as well here. So there's been a countless amount of guests that have claimed that they have heard strange noises or have seen like things happen in their hotel room, like a faucet just turning on by itself without anyone being there. And, oh god, this one's really crazy, furniture moving on its own. Can you imagine staying in a hotel room and just seeing the nightstand just like moving around the room? Like, I just can't. I don't want to scare you guys from going to this hotel because it seems like a very nice hotel. I've never personally stayed here, but I actually think I've known a few people who have stayed here, and I don't think they've experienced anything like this. But I don't know. Sometimes these stories, they just really get you. So I guess that's what's happening in the Gansevoort Hotel from time to time. Now, like I said, the Gansevoort is a great place, and the rooftop, very, very nice. But I don't know about some of these stories. Now, when I'm sharing these spots with you in a particular neighborhood, I don't ever want to sway you from going somewhere, but at the same time, I feel like it's my duty to share these things with you guys as well in these videos. So those are the only two spots that I was able to find directly in the Meatpacking District. Now, I also do make these videos for other neighborhoods as well, so you can look out for that. And if you guys have anything to share about haunted spots that you may know of in the Meatpacking District, please let me know in the comments, because as always, I love hearing from you guys. And I actually want to add one thing. Let me know in the comments if you believe in ghosts or not.